Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to May 2020, a month of big shift. And it's a little different than the shift we were having with, for example, Saturn joining your sign in March, though Saturn will be going retrograde in your sign and then working his way back to Capricorn in a little bit. The shift we have this month starts to hit into an interesting space for Aquarians because the north node of the moon is shifting from Cancer into Gemini and will be in Gemini until January 18th, 2022. This fellow air sign is all about the heart energy for Aquarians and the creative, that childlike, romantic, creative, playful, heart-based leadership energy that is so powerful. So the North Node is going to be pulling you forward. And I've associated the North Node shift here into Gemini as one that's kind of tied to the way of the coyote or raven, the trickster, right? But not in the negative way. These energies know how to laugh at life, right? And they know how to weave a story and to be able to see it from a much craftier, more creative, and outside the box thinking modality, right? And the North Node is going to be having us do that, while the South Node in Sagittarius helps us release philosophies that no longer serve and helps us rework the shadow side of collective philosophy. So this is a big shift and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be kind of a breath of fresh air with the North Node and the South Node shifting into something different than Cancer Capricorn. Now the other thing is that Venus is doing her retrograde starting on May 13th. Yep, May 13th. And working until June 25th in Gemini. Another one of these energies that's going to be working with that fifth house energy for you. So as this month unfolds, we start off in Taurus season, which squares you, right? That's all of that has to do with your fourth house, home, family, your intimate, internal world. And then as these energies start to shift into Gemini, including the sun on the 20th, and we have a new moon in Gemini on the 22nd, we're starting to get into this fifth house heart chakra energy that is going to be really important for Aquarians. Now, the message that came through for me as I felt through that, because wow, was this. Allow help. Keep your heart open to help. Now, I don't just mean literally, if you need to ask for help at this time from those around you, yes, that's beautiful too. Knight of Cups, that's powerful to ask for help, right? But I also mean kind of on a cosmic spiritual level. The message that came through is like you may feel like you need to get really stringent on your spiritual practices or on your idealist practices about who you need to be in culture as it's shifting right now. And so the desire may be during this time to get really more intense and Four of Cups and kind of latch down and be like, all right, well, I'm going to show up in this way and I'm going to make sure that I'm really pure. That I'm really pure in my intentions, that I'm really pure with what I'm doing, that I'm really pure with how I'm showing up, how much I'm meditating or how much I'm giving back or how much I'm being on point when it comes to who I want to show up as in the world. And this month is going to ask you, first and foremost, to take down those barriers of perfect practice and the chasing of purity. Strength. Oh, I love it. Your opposing sign of Leo showing up here. The mirror energy wanting to remind you of something. Strength is also associated with the heart chakra, right? Which is where all of this discussion is leading. When we get into a stringent practice, the chasing of the purity, the chasing of the ideal, we can sometimes build a fortress with that. And this month, High Priestess, I'm loving what I'm seeing here for Aquarians. This is some psychedelic pathways opening up here that I am feeling big time. This is a time when one of the most powerful things you can do is ask for more help from the unseen. Five of Cups, very interesting. Yeah, there's some healing going on there. I think as soon as you let yourself receive that unseen help, right? You let yourself receive help from, your inner being, your subconscious, your spirit council, however this comes in for you. Your heart, using it as an organ of hearing and perception. When we open that up, we also sometimes feel an emotion that we've been pushing down. So Five of Cups, Five of Swords. Okay, we're having some growth aspects going on there. Five is always that sticky point where we feel a pinch and we feel a release. As long as we're aware, if we show fully up to that pinch and we look, rather than putting it aside, we go deeper into it, we can often find the release, the little hook. It's almost like, when you get hooked on a doorknob or something and your clothes get hooked on it, and then you unlatch it and then you can keep moving forward. It's kind of like that. That's kind of how I feel here, Tower. Okay, yeah, we're doing some things here. Don't worry, my friends. This is a revolutionary time. This is a time. Saturn is retrograde in your sign this month. Let's see. Saturn goes retrograde on May 11th. So May 5th, North Node goes into Gemini. May 7th, the full moon in Scorpio highlights your career and who you are in the world. May 11th, Saturn, one of your co-rulers, goes retrograde in your sign. And then May 11th, Mercury goes retrograde, Mercury goes into Gemini. And then May 13th, Venus goes retrograde. So for Aquarians, admittedly, this is a time of major recalibration. And Five of Pentacles. Okay, please don't despair, my friends. I'm not a sugarcoater. I really am not. But what I am is somebody who really deeply believes in some very simple practices that have to do with always trusting yourself and not looking for the complex, messed up, complicated movie-like storyline of chasing and releasing, of building up something and then burning it down, but more in line with evolution within. So let's talk through how powerful this reading is. What was I saying about opening up to help when it feels hard or when it feels scary, rather than trying to get more of that inner dictator coming out and telling you, you need to be doing more. Why aren't you doing this? That inner judge, that inner critic. That is the exact time when we ask for mercy and for grace from something greater. So let's look at these first four cards because they are beautiful. They are really beautiful. They are big. They are juicy. They are bold. Knight of Cups comes right into this month offering something up, bringing an offering to the table with pure intention. This is the guy who believes in truth, love, and beauty, and poetry, and the ideals of love. He's kind of the perfect concept of the medieval knight and the stories of the fair lady and what romanticism is based on in many Western cultures is this kind of, I don't know if this ever really existed, but it's that ideal, right? And the Knight of Cups always wants to come in with an offering. So Aquarians, you're being offered something really powerful here. And you keep getting offered it. Even with this Four of Cups, look, the hand is there offering you something, but you may not feel ready. You may feel a little resistant. You may feel a little nervous to open up to this. This can be something that feels a little overwhelming or like you're not sure. But look at how these cards line up. You could almost do that, right? It's like reaching through a window frame or picture frame, trying to give you a message, trying to open something up within you. Now, what does that have to do with? The Strength and High Priestess energies have to do with, yes, creative heart, creative leadership, creative peace and vibrancy and connectivity. Now, this is your opposing sign as well of Leo, right? It's associated with Leo, the lion, the leader, the individual. So that can also mean that relationship is here and connecting with somebody that helps you see more clearly, right? But it's also getting comfortable with the fact that even if you are trying to be more of the people or denigrating yourself, that it's important to always reactivate the part of you that is who you are and own that. And this is where that heart activation is really important. And the High Priestess is actually, even though she's a water energy, very much so, very Piscean, very mysterious, very much the gatekeeper between worlds. She's seeing it all. You know, she's sitting at the gateway of the temple and is there for the initiate. She is very tied to the heart and how we listen from the heart. High Priestess speaks to us via the heart. That's the ear that we have in that organ in our body is on a metaphorical level, but is how we access High Priestess information. Now, Strength and High Priestess are all about healing. They're all about good, soft, loving, healing, creative, giving birth to something beautiful and new energy. And they are here calling you forward along with this Knight of Cups who's offering something powerful up. Now, here's the thing. We do get into this pretty powerful territory. I'm going to admit it, right? Like, Aquarians, you have something that's culminating here. Let's look at these four cards, because we have Five of Cups, Five of Swords, the Tower, and Five of Pentacles. Now, we go through each of these fives first. Let's just go through each one, because they each have a different flavor of that pinching point that, rather than running away from, we need to go deeper into and understand. Five of Cups, I often find, is when we finally let ourselves feel or experience something that we need to grieve. And often this comes in a form where we have been trying to stay productive, focused, not focusing over there, and it finally just needs to come out, right? So this is an important portal. This is an important doorway to step through often. We often need to do this when we are shifting in life. And it's not a bad thing necessarily, right? Five of Swords is where we hit into our lack of trust in ourselves and our boundaries. Now, we can be paranoid about somebody treating us not well. We can be paranoid about how a system isn't treating us well. We can also feel that from within. Where do you need healthy boundaries? Where are you noticing that you need to trust yourself a lot more and know that you're always going to do the right thing for you? I think I've mentioned before, but Jean-Paul Sartre, one of my favorite existentialist philosophers, talks about in Being and Nothing that human anguish is often caused because we don't trust ourselves to show up time and again in life in this concocted future that we keep constructing for ourselves in our minds, right? And so we concoct these futures, we're thinking about it, we're worrying about it, and then we feel this anguish that what if I can't trust myself to show up the way I need to? And the Five of Swords really reflects that anguish. Now, Five of Pentacles is where we feel unworthy, where we feel locked out, where we feel that we're not allowed to be okay, that we feel we have to do it the hard way, that we feel like this is reality. So these fives are all challenging you to find healing in these aspects, in healthy boundaries, in allowing yourself to be loved, and allowing yourself to feel full emotion, to ask for help, divine and practical. Now, the Tower, yes, this card has been with us for a couple of months. You are not alone in this. This is definitely just an energy that is at work. I think Saturn and Aquarius, it is affecting you, right? It's going to be working with you to shift big pieces and help you restructure what it is you really want to do in life. It is also going retrograde this month to help us incorporate some things. And it will continue to be retrograde until late September. The Tower is a transformer. It's a freedom bringer from prisons that we put ourselves in. And these fives that I'm seeing here are representations of those prisons. And, you know, we each have our path with that. And we each have our reasons for how our prisons have been constructed or created. But it doesn't define you. It doesn't define your path. There's one thing I have zero tolerance for. It is fear-mongering. I refuse to play that game. I don't live in the world to bring that. And I don't consider it sugarcoating to say that when you have something big changing and when you are learning new ways of receiving help, new ways of setting boundaries, new ways of loving, new ways of communicating, new ways of moving through the world, that you are going to feel pinched sometimes, but that does not mean that you are defined by a sense of anguish and less thanness. And that, in fact, what I'm seeing here is a huge call to open your heart further, to allow more light into it, right in the moment when you want to constrict it the most. Now, this is something I have personally learned so many times. Right when we think, I can't afford to have an open heart right now. I can't afford to be full of light and warmth toward myself or others. That is the exact point we need to open our hearts. Now I have, and I'm not trying to lecture you here. I think for me, I'm trying to hammer home that, you see cards like that, it's very easy to go to heavy, dark places, right? There's a lot of stress right now in the world. There's a lot of unknown. And even for those that are doing pretty well and have a lot of support, it's still a time of uncertainty. So when you see cards like that, it's very easy to take yourself to maybe a scared place. I don't want you to do that. I want you to remember that fives are just here to give us little nudges and reminders. And the Tower is here to liberate us. And you just have some liberating energy working at you right now, my friends. I will tell you. And, being a Leo sun, I'm opposing, my energy is going to be opposing Saturn during this whole thing. So I'm riding that storm with you. Now I have a whole bunch of keywords that I wrote up for May in this bowl. I'm going to pull one for you for your keynote for the month of May. Evolve. Oh yeah. I would say this reading, with the way that the offerings from the other side are coming in and then this transformation is coming in, evolve is for sure the word that I would equate with Aquarians. Now, Aquarius energy, I think when I think about evolving and evolution, I think of Aquarians more than any other sign. Despite being a fixed sign, you all are very tapped into kind of the ancient technology of evolution, right? Of evolving our energy states, of evolving our mental states, of evolving who we are in this lifetime. I think Aquarians are very deeply tied to that logic. And this is a time of evolution. Now, one of the things that in your personal growth, right? And one of the things I'm noticing about May is that there's a really strong frequency wave that is like this, rather than it being like this or like this, it's these ripples like this, where you have maybe a feeling like Five of Cups, and then you have a clarity like Knight of Cups, right? You have like a matching balancing. So where you have the Tower, you have the Strength card. Where you have something that gets kind of melted down, dissolved away, you have the Leo energy, or like the Strength creative energy coming up and bringing flowers with it. And I don't mean to be belittling of any process here, right? But there is this kind of balancing out, calibrating energy working with you, and there is a change afoot in how you're moving through the world, how you're letting yourself be loved. Do not be afraid to ask for guidance and help. It will be so beautiful for you. Wow. Aquarius, you always give me an interesting, powerful reading, but I think this one hit me more intensely than I expected when I sat down to talk with you all today. And I am feeling through this. I think I'm going to have to, when I close out here, go sit with this a little bit and sit with the power of this beautiful initiate energy, with also these fives of transformation showing up time and again. And it's so interesting with the work that we are doing here with heart energy, storytelling energy, energy of the divine trickster. This is beautiful energy, but it does mean we're changing lenses. like I said, I'm going to be offering a lot of extra support over on Patreon for especially that Venus retrograde, but we also do our weekly astrology updates. We talk through some of the bigger things going on in life, and I'm going to be sharing some personal stories for Venus retrograde because I think it's really informative and helpful to contextualize this kind of work that we do with Venus retrograde with my own journey. So if you're looking to join me on that, I'll leave my Patreon link below. I'd love to see you over there. You can also find me on Instagram at Sarah Verba, and I will be opening up sessions for June and forward. I haven't quite yet, but keep an eye on my booking page, which I will also link below. And of course, what would a reading with me be without me saying that PinkLune is offering up her beautiful work. Go check out her Etsy shop. She's got some amazing stuff up for that. And I am sending you all so much love. I will see you for Moon Magics and for the June readings coming up. Sending you love.